Smart but sparse changes keep the Pixel 10 Pro XL among the top Android phones. It remains underpowered for tasks like gaming, but that doesn't matter if your focus is on the still excellent cameras, super bright display, or AI features. Just be aware that to get the most out of those features, you will have to wait for updates or for Google's tools to get to grips with your data. The Google Pixel 10 Pro XL is named in part after its size, but to get to grips with how good a phone it is, it would be wrong to focus on physical qualities alone. It is easy to point to things like the phone's incredibly bright display or its versatile cameras as major selling points. But this is a phone where the true value lies beyond the specs list. There are, in typical Google fashion, lots of AI features to play around with, features with a wide range of applications and utility. It's just a pity that Google seems to have learned some bad habits from Apple in not having all its features ready for launch day. Plus, Google flagship phones' inherent weakness in terms of power remains, even if battery life has improved. As the final big Android phone launch expect this year, I have been testing the Pixel 10 Pro XL against its main competition and also the latest iPhone just in case you are considering switching to or from an Apple phone. It's resulted in some of the most interesting phone comparisons of 2025 and I am thrilled to be able to take you through them. Pre-orders are up for the Pixel 10 Pro XL and its siblings until retail launch day August 28. If and when you decide to buy the Pixel 10 Pro XL, it will cost $1,199. That's technically more expensive than the Pixel 9 Pro XL from last year, but what's actually happened is that Pixel dropped the 128GB model. It's a shame that you can't get a cheaper extra large Pixel now, but it's not strictly a price hike. If storage matters to you, you can spec 512GB or 1TB for $1,319 and $1,549 respectively. But increasing the storage locks off certain color options. Only Obsidian Black offers all three options, while Jade Green is only available in the basic 256GB. There are no big changes from last year in terms of overall shape or materials. Google is still using matte textured toughened glass on the back, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and shiny aluminum sides holding them together. There is still a reliable IP68 dust and water resistance rating too. There are alterations to be found if you look closer. Google made the phone's rear G logo metallic, slimmed and bezel around the rear camera bar, moved the SIM card tray to the top of the phone and added a second speaker opening to the bottom. But the only real difference is the overall width. The size change results in a larger display and a total weight that's about 5% heavier than the Pixel 9 Pro XL. That gives the Pixel 10 Pro XL the status of the heaviest of the main flagship phones on sale today, although only by a few fractions of an ounce. One other changes that applies only in US Pixel 10s is the removal of physical SIM support. It's eSIM only for American customers, while the rest of the world can still plug in their nano SIM card. Your four color choices for the Pixel 10 Pro XL are Moonstone Blue Gray, Jade Green, Porcelain White or Obsidian Black. It's a reasonable amount of choice, but the Pixel 10 base model has the most eye-catching hues in the family. The 6.8-inch 120Hz refresh rate adaptive display on the Pixel 10 Pro XL is slightly larger than the Pixel 9 Pro XLs, but still a little smaller than the equivalent Samsung or Apple models. But the size difference is offset by the Super Actua screen's incredible brightness. Google Pixel 10 Pro XL can reach 2555 peak brightness, while Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra can reach 1860. And iPhone 16 Pro Max can reach 1553. The results above show just how intense the screen brightness on the Pixel 10 Pro XL can be, even compared to last year's Pixel 9 Pro XL. The Galaxy S25 Ultra does have the advantage of an anti-glare layer in its display, which helps deal with strong single sources of light, but in generally bright environments, and you have an easier time looking at the pixel's screen. Looking to the other results, we see the Pixel 10 Pro XL lags behind the S25 Ultra in terms of color gamut coverage and also color accuracy. In the default vivid color profile, the potential buyers needn't worry too much about that. The Pixel 10 Pro XL is still a great device for watching video or browsing photos on. You might be surprised to hear that the Pixel 10 Pro XL's camera are identical to the Pixel 9 Pro XL's, at least on paper. The 50 megapixel main, 48 megapixel ultra wide, 48 megapixel 5x telephoto, and 42 megapixel selfie cameras are unchanged from the 2024 model, as all the upgrades are located on the softer side. Here we can see some camera samples of the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL. Let's kick off the comparisons with main camera shot of a cottage. We see the first evidence of the Pixel 10 Pro XL's apparent default processing priority, balancing the brightness of all colors in the shot. This is perhaps why the Pixel's shot is much warmer, with the Galaxy S25 Ultra's image being cooler and brighter. Against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the Pixel 10 Pro XL also looks less bright but punches up the colors in return. The trees in the background in this view across a park are much easier to make out in the Google photo. And how does it compare against the outgoing Pixel 9 Pro XL? This photo of disused telephone box shows that the Pixel 10 Pro XL gives slightly stronger colors on the blue end of the spectrum, but is otherwise identical to the Pixel 9 Pro XL's image. In the night mode, with our subject being mini bottle of Henderson's relish, we see the Pixel 10 Pro XL struggle to capture the light compared to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but the Pixel does have less of a red color caused by the curtains in the room than the S25 Ultra, which could be an advantage in some cases. Switching to the ultra-wide cameras and looking over a small stream in a wood, the Pixel's image pales compared to the S25 Ultra's far brighter shot. This is likely as a result of the Pixel's relatively small sensor not capturing as much light and the post-processing not being able to do enough to compensate. Macro mode also uses the ultra-wide sensor, comparing to the Pixel's effort against of the iPhone 16 Pro Max of a pink flower. The Pixel's shot is darker, again likely because of its small sensor, but the image still has good contrast as we can still make out the detail in the flower's center. The final rear camera on the Pixel we need to look at is the 5x telephoto camera, which I pointed at a breeze over a lake. The Pixel has tried to balance the mix of light and shade in the shot, resulting in an apparent lack of color compared to the S25 Ultra, while the Samsung's shot's richer color of the water is appealing. The breeze is blown out in return. The Pixel 10 Pro XL's telephoto camera offers up to 100x max magnification for the first time, except with the power of ProRes zoom. Images at the level are still legible, albeit potentially inaccurate, but let's start at a less extreme 50x. Zooming in on a milestone's curved lettering, it's already obvious that the Galaxy shot is noisier than the Pixel's, but based on my own observation, the Pixel has over-smoothed the stone, removing some of the texture in an effort to clean up the shot. At 100x, this effect is even more noticeable. A stone that's been sitting outdoors for who knows how long is unlikely to be as smooth as the Pixel's shot would have you believe. But in terms of legibility, while both photos still show the lettering clearly, the Pixel shows them in crisper detail. When exporting the images, the Pixel 10 Pro XL conveniently gives you both your original ProRes zoom shot and the processed version, along some interesting comparisons. For instance, we have here a church window about 1000 feet away from where I was standing as I took the photo. It's an impressively sharp shot, but the pixels processing system seemed to have read the stone bars between the glass as wood, adding a vertical grain effect. While the detail of the brickwork has been impressively recovered, it shows a big limitation of these generative detail enhancing tools. It shows you what's likely to be there rather than what truly is there. Google enhanced some of the camera's associated features, such as making best take active automatically with enough photos and offering 50 megapixel resolution for portrait modes. But the all new feature and the one I spent the most time with was Camera Coach, the new photography teaching tool that's accessible right from the viewfinder. This is currently in preview, so hopefully it powers will multiply in the future, but right now it's more of an interactive forming tool. It will detect what you are pointing the camera at, offer some suggested compositions, and then give you tips on which camera lens to use, where to stand, and how to position the subject. If you can, it's a fun, personalized way to learn, but there are so many more tools in the Pixel 10 Pro XL's toolbox. I hope more options or perhaps an advanced mode appear in future to help guide users to try even more, like switching between vertical and horizontal shots, setting a manual focus, or adjusting exposure. Google's updated the chip in its Pixel 10 Pro models with a Tensor G5 and paired Pro models including the 10 Pro XL with 16 GB RAM. Considering that previous Tensor-powered Pixels have lagged behind in performance, we were curious to see how this update changes things. As the results demonstrate, the Pixel 10 Pro XL is noticeably improved over the Pixel 9 Pro XL, but is still underpowered when looking at the Snapdragon and A series chips that power the Galaxy S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max. The Adobe Premiere Rush video test shows this specially. In my general gaming test of playing the graphically intense RPG XR Stress in order to get a consistent 60 FPS frame rate, I had to turn off anti-aliasing, reduce the resolution from ultra to high and environment quality down to average, and even the game would still experience hiccups. Android flagships with Snapdragon 8 Elite can easily handle this game at maximum settings. Now that the 128GB Pixel Pro XL model has been discontinued. The Pixel 10 Pro XL starts with 256GB storage with the option to up that to 512GB or 1TB storage. This should be speedy storage to load and unload thanks to Google using the UFS 4.0 memory standard with 512GB or 1TB of storage on a US model. You also get zoned UFS, a feature that supposedly organizes data within your device's storage to improve its efficiency, speed, and the device's lifespan. We are not sure why this is limited to only a 2 out of 3 storage options and only to American customers, but it sounds like a bonus worth having. The 5200 mAh battery in the Pixel 10 Pro XL is the largest Google's ever put in a phone. And fortunately, between the extra capacity and the improved Tensor G5 chip, this results in good battery life gains. The Pixel 10 Pro XL lasted 14 hours and 20 minutes in adaptive display mode in our beta test, which involves constant web browsing over a cell connection. This is almost an hour and a half longer than the Pixel 9 Pro XL achieved, but Google still has catching up to do if it wants to match 17 hours plus that the Galaxy S25 Ultra and iPhone 16 Pro Max clocked. Using the Pixel 10 Pro XL's 45-watt wired charging, we are able to fill the phone from empty to 33% and 63% full after 15 minutes and half an hour charging times respectively. The Galaxy S25 Ultra manages to reach 37% and 71% in the same time frame, although its smaller battery capacity no doubt helps there. We must also highlight the 25-watt wireless charging that the Pixel 10 Pro XL now supports using the new Key 2.2 compatible Pixel Snap accessories. You can also this with MagSafe chargers designed for iPhones too, opening up a huge world of possible add-ons of your Pixel. Google is the first Android smartphone maker to adopt Key 2 fully, and hopefully this heralds wider adoption among Android brands down the line. But focusing on the Pixel for now, it means that if you do happen to switch from an iPhone, you can keep using your chargers and some other accessories, saving you spending more on a new set of peripherals. Here is where the Pixel 10 Pro XL's main upgrades lie. As the first big phone maker to embrace Gen AI features back in 2023, it's no surprise that this remains the Pixel 10 series focus. The feature I was most looking forward to trying out was Magic Key, which takes the password or 2FA code autofill you have seen on phones before to another level by surfacing info in your messages or in calls as the phone thinks you need it. But the magic in the name seems to apply to a disappearing act, as I didn't see the feature pop up once in my whole week of testing despite switching everything on in settings. I was aware that Daily Hub, the summary feature similar to Samsung's Now Brief, isn't yet available here in the UK, but none of the suggestions that Google showed off on stage have popped up to help. Other additions to the Pixel 10 Pro XL software feature arsenal include a Pixel Journal app, a nice way to record your daily thoughts alongside photos, locations, and other info from your day. I also had fun with Create Music, which lets you turn recorder files into tracks with AI-implemented music based on a handful of genres. There's also Voice Translate in calls, which does a reasonable job of imitating people's voices in order to let you speak the same language. On the aesthetic front, there are new dynamic effects and templates for the lock screen, plus an always-on display mode that shows your phone's wallpaper in the style of recent iPhones and Galaxies to help keep the Pixel up to speed with its main competition. And Pixel Screenshots, a handy index of all your screen grabs, still works excellently, even as other companies have now imitated the feature with their own phones. It's even got Notebook LM integration to help you add relevant captures to your notebooks. More important than any currently available feature on the Pixel 10 series is the continued commitment by Google to provide the phone with 7 years of full updates. That's the most that any other major phone maker offers, and while we have yet to see a phone reach the end of 7-year update schedule like this yet, hopefully we can trust Google to keep its word and offer Pixel 10 owners an update to Android 23 in 2032. A fun bonus that comes with the Pixel 10 Pro XL purchase is a free year of Google AI Pro, normally costing $20 per month. This opens up Google's Gemini Pro and Deep Research tool, plus limited access to VO3 fast video generations and 2 TB of cloud storage. Google's made a few but effective upgrades to the Pixel 10 Pro XL. It's a masterclass in efficiency, changing and improving just enough to stay amongst the top of the pack in the most areas. The display's brightness is unmatched, and the camera's ultrawide perhaps aside offer a balanced, natural look that I can see a lot of people liking. It's unfortunate that the Pixel 10 series is still the lowest powered of the flagship phones on sale today and lags behind its main rivals on battery efficiency. Hopefully, access to Google's latest AI tools makes up for that for anyone who decides to take the plunge, although perhaps give it a couple of months if this is your primary reason. Hopefully, by then the seemingly incomplete Magic Q and the preview version of the camera coach will have been made whole. The Galaxy S25 Ultra may still be a better pick for you if you want more power and power efficiency from your phone. The Pixel 10 Pro may also be a better fit than the XL, considering you only sacrifice display size and battery life for a cheaper phone that's otherwise just as capable as its larger sibling. But the Pixel 10 Pro XL is the most capable and competitive of Google's latest batch of phones. If you are buying a phone right now and want best-in-class software combined with top-tier hardware, this Pixel is probably the one to pick.